You're sweating. You got to go.
I'm sweating. How we doing? Happy February. Welcome to IT and the D Presents, the podcast behind the podcast, behind the podcast. This is Bob the sales guy, always here with Nuri the FNG, Dave the geek. Find us online, itandthed.com, where we publish on a podcast every Monday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, anywhere you might listen to a podcast. Dave, what the hell's going on?
Big news that I'm excited about, dude. The DeLorean is coming back.
Like original.
No, they're apparently updating the engine and the suspension, but it's placed in Texas. They basically stockpiled and hoarded all of the parts for years and years and years. Waited for the go ahead, and now they're going to at least release like 100 a month, I think.
Okay. How did you buy the rights for the DeLorean? I'm confused.
I think it's the original people making it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Will it have an 8-track player? That's my question.
Jack's still alive?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
He died a while ago.
Can you buy the retro kit for the 1.21 gigawatt?
So you need the flux capacitor
right.
or nothing. That's all there is to it. Yeah.
Comes with the Nike the high tops with the hoverboard.
Yeah, the self-tying sneakers.
Not, I don't want it. Huey Lewis in the news on repeat.
Comes with the free copy of the Sports Almanac commemorative edition.
2016.
So yeah, I mean that's the big one. I mean, as far as just things that scare me, I'm sure it's done with the best of intentions. But apparently, there's a homeless guy walking around where if hey, got any change? Got any spare change?
Sorry, I'm all out of dollars.
Sorry, I'm out.
Can't do it.
Yeah, no worries. He pulls out his iPad with a card, Square reader.
Yeah, just hand me your credit card. Come on, give it here.
And he's got a Patreon account, from what I understand.
Uh-huh. So yeah, you don't hear enough stories about card skimmers and identity theft and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm the last person to judge somebody's circumstances or situation in life. It just seems like a giant, gaping security problem, and at a minimum, a hugely risky transaction.
I'd almost do it just for the simple fact of here's a Square reader. Here's $20.
And then I'm going to be pissed because I'm going to be behind you and I'll be like, come on, damn it, Bob. Bob's like sitting there signing the iPad with his name and...
Tip 20%.
Yeah, wait, I said 20, not 200.
Right. And he's gonna go that far, but I was reading about him. He's like, homeless is my business. And I'm like,
well, it's like, what was it? 20 odd years ago, some guys from like the New York Times busted one of their coworkers panhandling during lunch.
Dude, living in New York is expensive shit.
Well, but he said he made more money doing that than he did as a writer.
well, in Chicago, you get your own corner. They did a study on them. They were making over $50,000 a year each. Yeah, I know, right?
We're doing it
considering you're making $10 an hour working at Walmart, why do you think people are?
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it wrong.
Speaking of doing it wrong, if you're going to drive down the highway at full speed, it's probably best you leave your pants on and your wiener tucked safely away in your underpants.
And not be watching porn and doing your own version of the Fast and the Furious.
I heard rumor has it he was watching Die Hard on his phone.
Yeah, like I said, and so for those who don't know, there was a gentleman, and I realize this is sad, but when you go this way, you deserve to have a little bit of mocking done. Was apparently watching pornography on his cell phone.
Like you do.
And while he was driving down, was it 75?
In the lodge, yeah.
Yeah, and crashed and was thrown from the car.
Without his seatbelt, that was the worst part, right? So watching porn
you're
without
not
your
wearing
seatbelt.
pants.
He didn't know if he was coming or going.
Yeah, the devastated mourners have built a little shrine with Kleenex boxes at the scene of the accident.
It's actually a really cool mental picture thing about the guy with like his sweatpants down around his ankles. So there with his phone, is he holding it or is it on the window? And like
This is a cool picture.
I like the mental picture. I'm putting it all together in my head.
I want a Freedom of Information Act. I just want to know what he was watching. Like, that's my question. What porn is so hot that you just have to start rubbing one out while you're driving?
What's that a new word to bang buzz, perhaps?
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I guess those are the big hot stories. I mean, obviously we've got our guest tonight. We are at episode 129. We've got the organizers from Great Lakes Comic Con and our friends from CBI coming in, talking about risk management.
Speaking of which, and not to pat ourselves on the back, but we are the #1 ranked technology podcast on SoundCloud. But we are ranked the #1 technology podcast on SoundCloud. So check us out, itandthe.com. Hope to see you at one of our events. Listen to our podcast. Appreciate looking at our ugly mugs for 3 minutes, and we'll see you soon. Beat it.
Say it.